I'm gonna I'm gonna hit record here, so we have that recording, so we're good to go. Thank you so much. Now, for everyone joining us, there is a unique black box of the industry that I want to just kind of point at that exists on both sides of the equation. And what that black box is, you have an annual conference that is super important to you. You might have multiple conferences throughout the year, and getting the right speaker with the right content, with the right budget that's going to excite your members and get them to show up is super important. And there are all of these great speakers that match what you're looking for. But in between both of those is a black box. How do you actually find them? A lot of times, as Carrie referenced earlier, you tap people on the shoulder and you say, we're looking for this. Do you know of someone? And you're kind of always um, at task of what is in your network. And sometimes you run the risk of using the same people over and over because there's an inherent risk in booking a new speaker that you either have not worked with before or doesn't come highly recommended from a friend. Because what if their message doesn't land? What if they're super difficult to work with? What if they are not responsive? I mean, how many of you have ever dealt with a speaker where you ask for their bio and their description and they just don't send it, and you got to chase them for it, and you're like, just give me the description of your talk so I can put it onto my website to tell people about you? I feel like this should be simple and easy. And then for a lot of speakers, it isn't. And for a lot of event organizers, it's one of the biggest stressors. And then if they show up and their message lands completely flat, or they do inappropriate jokes, or they bring in political references that you had no idea they were going to, and it alienates a large percentage, there's a huge risk. And what always happens with a speaker who does not land is the moment you bring in a speaker that does not land, your membership starts talking like this. Oh, this group used to be really good and they're falling off, and I used to remember when the programming just hit all the time, and I don't even know if it's worth coming back. And, all of this stress becomes part of choosing this right person. You choose the right person, they hit it out the park. Your members are happy. They're excited about coming to your next event. They're telling people about it. If it doesn't hit the mark, they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and it becomes really stressful. And we know that people attend our events for multiple reasons. Some people attend because they just want to get away, and it's a fun little getaway. Some people attend because they want to create that group cultural sense of, these are my people. I want to be connected with the people who get me. A lot of people come because they want to learn and they want to be inspired and they want to get new cutting edge information that can help them. And a lot of people come because they want to think more strategically. They want to think about, how do I advance my organization and what can I learn by keeping my finger on the pulse of it. No matter who your attendees are, that education session still is the main driver. Those speakers are the main drivers of what will get people excited. These are the faces that we put on our websites to promote it. These are the videos that we hopefully have our speakers create to let people know about our events. It's super, super crucial to do it. However, you either have to have a huge budget and then work with a bureau. And some of us maybe, and just out of curiosity, in the chat, give me a yes if you've ever worked with a speaker bureau in the past. Give me a no if you've never worked with a speaker bureau in the past. So just want to get a sense of who's there. So I'm seeing some yeses. Shout out to ASBO, my people. Seeing some no's, right? So we're getting a pretty good mix, right? Now, typically when you approach a speakers bureau, you have to come in at a pretty high rate. Most bureaus want someone at a very, very high rate because for them, it doesn't make sense for them to service maybe a lower fee because they don't make enough commission on it. So if you have a huge budget, then that can be a great opportunity. But if you don't have a huge budget, or if you prefer not to go through a bureau, or sometimes if you work with a bureau, depending upon the bureau you work with, they could just give you an Excel spreadsheet or say, go to my website, pick somebody out. So you're still doing all of the work yourself, but feeling like, is this really going to be a good fit? Now, if you've not used a bureau before, typically you go through the channels of RFPs, requests for presenters, posting in groups and asking for speakers. You might jump on Google. Some of us now are jumping on AI and going, hey, AI, who's a good speaker on this topic? And then it searches the entirety of the internet and tries to give you options. But if you look for a good leadership speaker and they recommend Tony Robbins, I don't think any of us have the budget to bring in a Tony Robbins style speaker for our group. So what happens is this black box emerges, and it's like, well, how do I get connected and how do I find those speakers? So in addition to being a speaker myself, and shout out to everybody that was part of Harvest Highlight and I got to connect with more deeply doing the content, I'm also an entrepreneur, and my entrepreneurial endeavors was like, I want to fix that problem. On a personal level, I've been a speaker now for 20 years, but I've also been an event planner. I've done events at the White House with the National Chamber of Commerce. I've booked speakers from the Damon John level, which is very, very, very expensive, down to the content expert level, subject matter expert, which is still, an investment, but not as big as a celebrity speaker. So I've felt deeply the pain on both sides of how do you get discovered and matched with the right groups, and when you're looking for that right speaker, how do you find them and how do you cut through the noise? Because just because you find someone, then it's a matter of how do I know if they're a good fit? Is there a lot of smoke and mirrors in their content reels? You can make someone look really, really, really good on video, but maybe they don't deliver that in person the same way. So what we hope to do was to separate the noise from what we call signal, like true signs of if there is a good fit. So what we did over on my company Talkadot side for the last 4 years, we've dedicated ourselves to building a feedback tool that speakers could use. This feedback tool allows speakers to get quantitative and qualitative data on how effective their talks are. Most speakers don't measure their impact. They come in, they do a good job, and then when you try to find out how did they do, it's all subjective. I think they did well. I think people like them. And you might tap people on the shoulder and say, what did you think about the keynote speaker? You might get some survey results that, maybe you only get the people who really love you or really hate you to take if you've ever sent out a survey a week after your event. So it's always hard to get like clear signals. So what we did is we built a very, very specific feedback tool used by speakers at the end of their talk to get not just the people who love you and hate you, but that middle as well. And on average, our speakers get about 60 to 80% of all of their audiences to give them feedback. So what that means now is we have over 12,000 speakers that are using our feedback tool because of all of the work that went into building something that would be good for the audience, good for the speaker, and good for the event organizer to get this data report. Our data reports get quantitative, qualitative data, like I said, but we also analyze every single one of the reports with our AI to take out the key outcomes, the key experiences that the audience had. And then we collect all of that data on our speakers as well to get a sense of who do they do well with? Who do they resonate with? What are their best audiences? What are their best talks? Multiple speakers give more than one talk. What gets rated the most? So now that we've got this huge data set of speakers and we have all this actual data on them, and with the beauty of AI, which is really interesting for any of us who've gone deep down the rabbit hole of AI, and even if you haven't, what you learn about AI is that it's only as good as the data that you feed it. So the better your prompt, the better, the documents you upload into it, the more accurate your answers are. So using a general AI to source speakers typically falls flat because it's using the entirety of the internet to try to solve like a very specific problem for you, where we've collected this really, really specific data on speakers, on their events, and all of our AI runs across that specific data. So what does that mean to you and why we're all here today? So what that means to you and why we're all here is that we've been fortunate enough to now do an official partnership with ESSAE, with Carrie and her incredible team, to allow all of you to find speakers more effectively, more easily, and at no cost to you to do so. So I want to break down how our system works, how the data works, and why this is effective. To do this, just let me get a quick temperature in the room by give me a yes in the chat if you're currently planning an event and looking for a speaker. Give me a no if you are not planning any events and just is kind of just a general, I want to grasp what's happening. Okay, great. So a lot of you are currently in the process of planning this event. So this is really, really appropriate and makes all the sense in the world why you're here. So I'm going to put this link in the chat so you can save it, you can bookmark it, but let me walk you through what happens on this link here. So I'm going to share my screen. I just realized my battery's about to die on my laptop, and I can't let that happen. That would be terrible. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen, and let me show you what it looks like and how it works and what you can expect. So on that link, you can go here. Now, if you have any team members that are not on this session or any folks that you want to kind of just explain what Talkadot is, on this page here, it has a video explanation and then kind of breaks down a lot of what we're talking about here. But I'm going to explain it to you, so if you'd like to read it, by all means, go through it later. All you have to do is go to Find My Speaker right here. And when you go to Find My Speaker, it's going to give you a form. All you have to do is tell us as much information as you can with as much detail as you can. The more detailed you are, the better chance we have of matching you with speakers that work. So you can tell us things about when your event is, where it'll be held, what your budget is, who your audience is, what outcomes you hope to achieve, what type of speaker you would ideally like. How did you hear about us? Just make sure to choose ESSAE from the dropdown, of course. Anything else we should know? And if you've had any past speakers that you really liked, if you brought in someone who was awesome and you're like, ooh, more of this or maybe less of this, that's helpful information for us to know as well. So you put that in and then you hit Submit Request. Then what happens is that our data just goes to work and it starts analyzing all of the profiles that are in our system. It then kicks out profiles to us. Now, currently what we're doing to ensure the highest level of quality is we then have an expert human, typically myself, that will go through the results to make sure that there's no mismatches or no hallucinations of the AI tool that we have to make sure everything is relevant. Once, we confirm it's really good, what we'll then do is shoot over a short list of the top 3 speakers that matched for your budget, for your topic, and for what you're looking for. Now, what's important to know about these short lists is that you get an apples to apples comparison of 3 speakers. So you'll know that anyone presented to you is in your budget, because this is another thing. Out of curiosity, I'm going to ask this gingerly, but I think it's an important question. In the chat, give me a yes if you've ever had a speaker say they were like $50,000 and then you offered them $1,500 and they still said yes. Like there was a big disparity between what their build price was and what their actual price was, right? So we have some no's, some yeses coming in. What we have found over and over and over is that there is price elasticity within speakers. So this is what's really fascinating too about working with Talkadot. Because we, maybe not that big of a gap, maybe not 50,000 or 1,500, but more of just for illustrative purposes that, the fee that is out there and the fee that you can actually get for sometimes is a little different. What we've done is we've been able to analyze what they've accepted, where they've spoken, so that if there is a budget match, even if they might be say a $15,000 speaker, we might prove because of the location or because of who your audience is, this person would be willing to fit, say, within a $7,500 budget, as an example. So what's great about it is that our tool does a lot of that negotiation work for you, and we present you with options that you have a very, very strong chance of matching with based on all of our algorithms and criteria. And then we present them to you. Now, in this presentation, you'll be able to see videos of each one of these speakers. You can see where they travel from, and then you can see how they were rated, how much feedback they have, how many people want to attend events by them. Are they keynote speakers? Are they, conference session speakers? And then what our tool does is explain why we matched this person to you based on their topic, their expertise, and what your request was. So you can see exactly why they were matched and see, does it actually fit what you're looking for? We give you any awards that the person might have. And then this is a very important part, this key outcome part. These key outcomes are not key outcomes that the speaker has typed in themselves. So it's not sales copy. What we have done is analyzed all of their testimonials, all of their qualitative feedback, and based on what the audience is saying about them and what their event planner, their clients are saying about them, we create these outcomes based on that language. So this is real data, not, really hyped up sales copy. Then you can kind of see what different programs each one of the speakers offer, and you can see if they've got more than one talk. And then again, videos associated with that, descriptions, and you can click on these and read it fully. So what's great about this is that you can see pretty much everything you need in one quick view. And if you like a particular speaker and you want to dive deeper on them, you can click on any one of their names or click on this arrow here, and this will pop up their full profile. Now, for any of you that really like data and really like to do your due diligence, we've built this with a lot of feedback from event organizers and conference executives, just like yourselves. So this will tell you more on their particular data, how many people have given them feedback, how successful they are, what topics they speak on, who that they typically speak to. You can see more of our AI summaries of what audiences are saying and what clients are saying. You can get bios. You can get more of their presentation information. You can see any one of their testimonials of what they've said. But then what is also cool is you can see a past list of where they've spoken and used our tool. The reason why this is really helpful for you is that sometimes we like to book a speaker that has deep industry knowledge of what we're talking about. So you want to see, have they spoken to groups similar to mine? Now, others don't want to bring in someone that has spoken to groups like yours because you don't want to run in the risk of it. So previously, you really wouldn't know where people have spoken before, but now you can get a sense of, do they understand my people? Are they different? And sometimes, depending upon what your goals are, that's really helpful. And what you can do for any one of these past presentations that they've given here, so I'll just click on this one here. You can click on any one of them, and that will bring you to a specific data feedback report for that particular talk. So you, again, can see how they were rated quantitatively, and you can see what audience members are saying about them. And if they have this client tab, you can see what the client, the person who booked them, had to say about their professionalism, how it was like working with them, if they would recommend them. So you get a lot of the information that you would need to make a decision all in one place. And if you want to go super deep, you can click on to learn more about their books, their social media, if you want to see them in interview form. All of this is right here. So what this profile does is stops you from having to do that dance that many of you have done where you have to jump on LinkedIn and you've got to jump on YouTube and you got to jump on Google and then you got to jump on Instagram and Facebook and you got to search their names. And if they have a name that's similar to someone else's, you got to figure out who's who. So our whole goal is to stop this long process of trying to find the right speaker and let data be your friend and help you book them. Now, if you don't like these options, which is 100% on the table. So let's say there are 3 other options here that we found for another group. So let's say we presented these 3 options to you and you didn't like them. That's very normal because a lot of times what happens with speakers is you know it when you see it. And sometimes you can describe it generally, but when you see it, you go, no, this isn't what I'm looking for. What's great is you can just say, not interested in this particular speaker, and then we'll remove that speaker and replace them with another option. So there's lots and lots of options. So you can go more like this, less like this. I want to save this person. I want to get rid of this person until you get to a place where you have the options that are best for you. Now, at this stage, if you'd like to book a meeting with them, you can go ahead and do so. If you'd like to do a Zoom with them ahead of time, or if you'd like to move to the contract phase, all you'd have to do at this stage is just let us know. I'll be your main point of contact, working with every single one of you. And what we do on our side is make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. You're going to get your bios, you're going to get your presentation descriptions, you're going to get their hotel, their contact info. We help with all of that information. And this is the best part. Whatever your speaker fee is, so let's say you have a $5,000 budget or a $10,000 budget, whatever it might be, there's no additional fee for us to be able to provide this service for you and help with all of this process. The way that it works on the back end is that if, let's say, for example, your fee is $5,000 for a speaker, we'll contact one of these speakers and say that you've been matched, confirm their availability. And then what we'll do is take a small finder's platform fee for connecting them to the event. They're happy to give us a small percentage because we're connecting them with an opportunity that's a perfect fit for them that they normally would not have found. And we then use that to fund everything we're doing. So we have to be successful in our matches, and it doesn't cost you anything more than what you have. So what we always ask people to do is just put in the budget that you ideally would like to spend, tell us what you want, and there's no additional fees for any of the service or any of the work that we do to help with our tech to help you find speakers. So I want to get your thoughts, your questions in a moment. So if anybody has a how about, yeah, but, what if, here's a situation that I'm dealing with, what would I do in this case? If there's anything that jumps out at you in a moment, I want you to be able to ask some questions. Before I do that, in the chat, give me a sense. Is this making sense? Is it helpful? So give me like a yes or a thumbs up if this is helpful. If you're like, I have no idea what you just said, Shamar Less, because you look like Shamar Moore's less successful brother, feel free to be like, hey man, you lost me. I won't be upset. We're here to help support you and get you going. Right. Thank you so much, Sarah, Loretta, Jay. Wonderful, wonderful. So let's jump into some questions. Let's jump into some how abouts, yeah buts. And again, remember, all you have to do is click on that link right there in the chat. And then you'll go over to the page, tell us what you're looking for, and get a sense of it. You know, we'll walk you through the process. We will hold your hand as much as you would like through the process. If you'd like to do everything yourself, great. If you'd like to just know it's taken care of. What we've done with certain organizations, just so you know, is that some groups have said, hey, look, we've got 5 events we need to plan a year. We need speakers. We don't want to do any of it. So just book the speakers for us. Here's our budget for each event. Come back to us with your options, take care of all of it. We're happy to do that as well. So if you have volunteers, volunteer boards, executive members that you create committees for that, and maybe this isn't their favorite thing in the world to do, but they have to do it, and maybe they're not as dedicated as you might hopefully want them to be, just know you can consider us like an extension of your committee to help you do that. And a lot of folks are now choosing to outsource that to us. And then again, you still have the final say. You still have the final decision making. We don't say, here's what it is, we're going to contract. We provide it to you, and you still say yay or nay. So with that said, let's go into some Q&A. I think we are seeing some questions pop into the chat. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to raise your hand like this, unmute yourself, or throw it into the chat. Happy to answer it anyway. First, is there a list of categories for the speakers you offer? So the way that we do it currently, we're actually going to be building that out because we have gotten that request. What we have right now is just the search and then the display of them. So if there's a certain type of speaker you're looking for, like, I don't know, like really what I want in a speaker, because sometimes that happens too. I just know I want like a fun speaker or an inspirational speaker. You can just say that, and then we can provide you with a list of speakers that fall into it if you kind of want to look through a bunch. Some people like the idea of 3 speakers because it's simple. But if you would like to say, no, I just kind of want a list that I could look at, just make sure to type that into your request and we'll provide that for you. Sarah said, how do we sign up as a planner looking for a speaker? It's only seeing how to sign up as a speaker. Yeah, at this stage, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to create an event planner account or anything like that. All you have to do is go to that list, fill out the form for what you're looking for, and you're all good. So you don't have to worry about creating an account. The accounts that you see are created are for the speakers to get our feedback tool so we can start collecting the data for them. Next question. Do we need to have a login username to use the platform on this link? No, you don't. So all you have to do is go on to that link that's in the chat right there. Click on that link. Click on Find My Speaker. If you want to do a one-on-one meeting with me, if you had some questions or if you got some other team members, you have an option on that page. I'll just show it to you so you can see it. If you go here, If you click book a meeting, if you click on that link, it'll go over to my calendar. So if you want to schedule a meeting with me to go over anything one-on-one or ask any questions or bring other team members on, happy to go over this information with you. If you know what you're looking for a speaker, all you got to do is click find my speaker, and then it'll take you to this form right here, and then just fill it out, tell us what you want, and then we'll take care of the rest from there. Cost of the service that you provide. As I mentioned, there's no additional cost for you to use this service. With our partnership with ESSAE, all you have to do is go to that link. And again, when you tell us what your budget is for a speaker, so if you have a $5,000 budget, as the example that I think I gave, your $5,000 budget, we then will go to a speaker who we believe we can get for $5,000 for you. And then we, as Talkadot, will take a small percentage of what's called a platform fee for connecting the speaker to that event from that $5,000. So what that means is that whatever your speaker budget is, we don't add on top of that. So it's not like a speaker budget plus a percentage. So the benefit for you is there's no additional cost outside of what your current speaker budget is. You get all of these services. There's no upsell, or there's no like, you know, I don't know, like, have you ever like been like, oh, this is a great deal, and they say, cool, now you just have to give us your liver, or you have to get into this bathtub and let us take your spleen out. Like, there's literally none of it. So just imagine whatever your speaker fee is what we will use to help match you with the speaker. So it's simple, straightforward, and there's literally nothing hidden, no secret upsells, no, oh, but if you want this feature, that's going to be $500. It's literally based to make your life as simple and easy as possible. And our goal with Talkadot is to become the source, the number one platform that folks like you go to find your speakers. So I think the best thing you could do is click on that link, fill it out, tell us what you're looking for as a speaker, and kind of see how the process works from there. And again, you've got Carrie backing you up. So if anything I'm saying here is not what your experience is, of course, let me know, but also let Carrie know, and then she'll drop kick me into the bananas at Wegmans next time she sees me there. But we won't do anything wild. Adding categories and prices make this even more appealing. Yeah, happy to do so. And you can see all of the pricing that you'll want on a speaker is on their profile. So if you go, when you get your short list here, so if you click on like Darcy, for example, you'll be able to see information on her details. And the great news is that whatever you're looking for in terms of budget, our algorithm matches to that budget. So for example, you might have a speaker here who might say that they're a $15,000 fee, what this speaker is. But if our algorithm says, hey, based on who your audience is, the date of your event, what you're looking for, we believe we can actually get a little wiggle room on that. We do all of that for you. And the best part is you don't have to do any of the price negotiation. We do all of that on your behalf through our tool. So if you have, say, $7,500 and we think, hey, Teresa, this is a really, really good match for you. Would you like to take it? And they say yes. All you have to make a decision on is, do I believe this person is a good fit for my group? Not, do I believe I can afford them if you like them? Because if we're presenting them to you, it's under the very, very strong assumption that we can make it work. And if for any reason it happens that we can't, we'll make it right and provide other options that are a good fit. So what's great is that you're never in a place where you're not getting speakers that are good fits, are matches for your budget. And again, you know, some of us might say, oh, but there's no way, I'm in a rural part of New York. There's no way we're going to get a speaker from, you know, the speakers in Denver, for example, to come to our event in New York. And normally you might say, let me throw that out. But what our data has shown consistently is that with the right match and the right people, you might actually be quite surprised on who you can get. So instead of guessing, we use our data to do that for you. So again, you're getting the highest quality speakers, even if they're not based in New York, even if they're not based in your neighborhood. You might want that, so we'll help you find people based in New York. But if you just want the best content forward, we use all of our data points to help prove that for you. And again, I think you'll be very, very happy with the quality of speakers that you're able to get. And you might be surprised on where they come from as well. Yeah, correct. Talkadot doesn't add an additional charge on top of the speaker's fee. So Maura, if you say 5,000, we're not going to say, oh, now it's $6,000 because we're taking $1,000 and we bump. So if your budgeted speaker fee is $7,500, you're still paying $7,500 to go through our platform. There's no additional fee. The way that we create our income is by going to the speaker and saying, hey, we have this $7,500 event. Because we're connecting to you, we're going to take a little bit from it. So they might get, say, $6,500 as an example for their total fee, but they're happy to give that percentage up to our platform because we connected them with a right fit opportunity for them. Next question. Is there an early planning stage? Can you just browse a list of speakers without putting the budget or event date? Yeah, so if you go into our platform and you say, hey, I just want to, I don't have a budget, I don't have a date, I'm just looking for options, just put that into the search and then we can present you with a list of options. So right now, because we have so much sensitive data on speakers, we don't just release it to the wild of the internet because there's a lot of sensitive information on there. So we kind of want to share it with people that we vetted a little bit to make sure they're not like randos or scrapers that are going to do something kind of weird with that information. So we do it in a very particular way. We're going to be building up more and more mechanisms just to, unfortunately, if everybody was nice and did what they were supposed to do, you wouldn't have to create like these kind of governors. But the internet is filled with a bunch of kooky people. So the reason we do it that way is to keep our speakers' confidentiality safe and also to make sure that people who are coming onto our site are real people. Eventually, we will build out tools and guardrails and guide rails as we go through these user experiences that will be a little bit more seamless. But as of now, this is how we protect you and protect our speakers as well. Addie asked, is there a way to load in a range for budget? Would you want to miss out on being too low by a small amount? Yeah, if you could say, hey, we'd love to come in at that, 5,000 range, but for the right speaker, we could go up to like that $7,500 range, right? Just, I'm throwing out numbers. I don't know what your exact numbers are. Yes, you can tell us what your range is. So anything that would be helpful to say, this is our deal budget, but we'd be willing to go here. Anything like that, you can add it to the additional comments section, and our tool is smart enough to read all of that and help you with it. So we got your back there. These are great questions. Other questions? Again, feel free to unmute or throw them into the chat there. Yeah, shout out to MPI, upstate New York. Love Central New York. I'm a Central New Yorker, by the way. I don't know if y'all know this or not. I'm all about Central New York. Actually a member of MPI, upstate New York. So it's really cool. So thank you so much for our beautiful ESSAE folks and ESSAE for being so wonderful and allowing us to do this. We're here to help you. I would love to actually get your feedback and thoughts on this session. So let's do something really fun before we say toodles. So what I'm going to do is, if you look in the chat right there, I just put a link. In addition to that link, if it's easier, like if you're on your phone or anything like that, all you can do is take out your phone, open up your camera app and point it towards this QR code right here and scan it. This will be fun for two ways. So the first thing is you'll see an example of the feedback tool that Talkadot is. So this is how our feedback tool works. So I'd love to get your thoughts on this particular session. As a thank you for giving me your feedback on how this session was, I'm going to give you access to that link that we talked about with a little bonus. I have a little bonus for all of you as well that will email to you that will help you with your planning and your successful event throwing that's specifically built for associations. So it's a little bonus that I put together for all of you. So if you scan the QR code or click on the link that I put in the chat, take about 2 minutes or so to fill it out. Let me know what your thoughts and feedback are on the event. What you'll be able to see is what the feedback flow looks like, and you'll be able to get a really, really cool bonus. So I'll give you about a minute or so to do that. And when you are done giving your feedback, just give me the word done in the chat so I know you're finished. And I'll leave you with a final thought before I say have a wonderful rest of your day. And wild enough, we are almost halfway through the first month of 2026. So let's crush the last half of the month. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Loretta. Wonderful. Thank you, Carrie. Got your back. Thank you, Addie. So again, go ahead and make sure to scan that QR code with your phone or click on the link on the chat, whichever is easier. Give your thoughts and feedback. When you're done giving your feedback, just write done in the chat, as some of you already have, so I know you're finished. And then I'll leave you with a final thought before we go. Thank you, Rebecca. Hope to see you soon. Awesome. Well, as you are all filling out your thoughts and feedback, continue to fill it out. And just know that this is a really exciting opportunity for all of your groups to solve the pain point of finding, sourcing, vetting, booking the right speaker. We've built this to support any budget. So this is what's really important. A lot of times, as I mentioned, bureaus can only take a very high budget. And if you don't, you're left to a committee doing it, or you're left to your own devices. This is a new tool. And thank you to Carrie and her leadership for making this hopefully make sense to all of you and support you. So we're really excited about it. We want to earn your trust. We want to work really, really hard and do the best we can. And wherever we don't do well, let us know so we can improve upon the process of helping you create great events for your members that they want to tell their other members about, so that they show up to the next event and then it doesn't become this huge kind of escalator that feels impossible. Because if you get a great speaker, your first thought is, how am I going to possibly top that speaker next year? And then you got to find another speaker. And then if you do top that speaker, it's like, how am I going to, and you're constantly racing to the top, but it's always so challenging because it's like, I got to find new ideas, but I can't let people flop. And there's so much pressure that goes around this. We've built this tool to help solve that huge pain point. And we hope to be able to help every single one of you with your events, whether they're large events or whether they're small events. We want to be together with everything is better together. So shout out to the MPI family of upstate New York, and shout out to the incredible association executives of ESSAE. I'm so grateful for you all being here and participating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, because now ESSAE needs to look at Talkadot because I have to top your keynote at Harvest Highlight. So that is a big big task at hand. So I really want to thank you, Arl, and for I think both MPI and SA, our members are super busy wearing multiple hats, and any tools that doesn't cost us a lot of money but saves us some time and helps us do our jobs, more efficiently and effectively are things that MPI upstate New York and SA will want to make available to our members. And I just wanted to quickly share 2 seconds that speaking of resources and events, in addition to ESSAE's events in our calendar section, we have MPI upcoming virtual session and their gala. And I put in this calendar invite if you lost the speaker information, you can click on here and find the Talkadot information for your future reference. And Ariel, before we part ways, if someone has a colleague who wish they could have made it but wants the information, is it the link the best way to share it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So send them that link. And on that link, they can either book a meeting with me and I can walk through everything that we talked about here one on one, or they can just jump in and find a speaker.
Wonderful. And we've recorded this video, and we'll make it available also to anybody who wants either a refresher or to be a good colleague and share.
That sounds great. Thank you for having me. And I just want to acknowledge how cool your background is, because it's smooth. Your background's smooth. There's no like weird edges around your head. So shout out to you for that.
We try.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and wishing everyone a great start to their new year, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.